what is the degree of this monomial? That just means this is one term, okay? This number in variables. And what's the degree? How many variables are there? If I was to rewrite that, I'm writing 6 x's and 3 y's. Does everybody understand that? That's what those exponents mean. So how many variables are there? 9. That's what it's asking you for. What's the degree? How many variables are there?
8.
Does that make sense, y'all? Okay. Then on number 2, it's asking the same thing. How many variables are there? What's the degree?
0.
0. There are none. So that one would be 0. Okay? Then number 3. So some of these we'll go through pretty quick. Some of them will take longer. 2y to the 5th minus 4y to the 5th. If I have 2 of something and I take away 4 of them, how many do I have? Negative 2 of those exact same things, okay? Some of you change the variables and stuff. Don't do that, okay? If I have 2 of them minus 4 of them, I now have negative 2 of those things. Does that make sense? Okay. Then number 4. Oh, I'm already ahead of myself. Number 4, it says write it in standard form. Here, I'll just write it what they have first. Plus 9g squared minus 6. Okay, they want us to write it in standard form. That just means in decreasing order. So what's my highest exponent? So I'm going to write it first. It was a negative 5g to the 3rd. All right, I'll mark that one off. What's my next highest exponent?
9g squared.
Yeah, the 9g squared, and it's positive, so I'm going to write that. And then I've got a positive 4g, and then that one has a degree of 0. So see, it's 3, 2, 1, 0 variables. So that's the order, and I honestly think there's only one answer choice with that. But then it says name it by its degree and number of terms. Well, when it's a third power, it's a cube. Like you cube something, so it's cubic. And then a trinomial is 3 terms. This one has more than that. So at that point, you just call it a polynomial. Okay, does that make sense, y'all? But it's multiple choice. So once you find this, you'll see your answer. Okay. Number 5. Y'all stop me at any point if I need to go back over something. Okay, y'all can stop me. Number 5, they have 2u to the 3rd plus 6u squared plus 3. And then over here, we're adding 2u to the 3rd minus 7u plus 6. So I'm just combining like terms, and it says that I am adding them. So 2u to the 3rd, I would add it to what? 2u to the 3rd. How many are there? 4u to the 3rd. And I'm just going to cross them out. Then I'm going to go to my 6u squared. See, I'm going in order. All right. Are there any other u squares? No. So I'm just going to bring that one down just like it is. What would come next?
Negative 7u.
A negative 7u. And it's plus, there was nothing you're adding to it. Nothing plus negative 7u. It's going to stay a negative 7u. And then what comes last? 3 plus 6 is 9. So that's going to be your simplified answer. Are we okay with that one? Yes? Okay. Y'all, if I'm going too fast, say something. I can turn that temperature down. Some of y'all are still hot. Oh, I'm turning that up. There, we'll do that. I'm turning down a few. Okay, number 6. 4w squared minus 7w minus 6. Now be careful here because we're subtracting all these things behind it. An 8w squared, a 2w minus 3. So I'm going to start with my highest exponent, which is the square, the 2. What's 4w squared minus 8w squared? That's right, negative 4w squared. Crossing those out. The next thing is going to be my w's. What's negative 7w minus a 2W.
Negative 9.
Negative 9W.
Also, the library is closed today. I forgot to say that. If you like to test in your room, you can, but it's closed for decorating for a party tomorrow.
Okay, and then what is negative 6 minus negative 3? Keep change there. Negative 6 minus negative 3.
Negative 3.
Negative 3. There you go. Oh, y'all, and I'm not telling y'all these answers. Let's see. Yeah, that one's A. Okay, ready for number 7?
6 is it?
Yeah, number 6 was A. Y'all, at the end, I'll just put all the answers up there at the end of the video so y'all can see all, in case you missed something or whatever. It'll be at the very end of the video. Just remind me to do that. Number 7. This one we are multiplying, so we're going to change it up a little bit. Let me write down the problem. Okay, so I'm going to take and distribute this to everything inside parentheses. We're looking at the numbers, and then which we call coefficients, and then we're looking at the letters, which we call variables. So what is 5 times 3? We'll do that first. Very good. So 15 goes first. Then, how many A's will I have?
6.
You add the exponents. If you forget that, think of it this way. I have 2 A's here, and how many do I have written here? If I'm multiplying all those together, how many is that? 6. That's why you're adding the exponents. So it's just 15a to the 6th. Does everybody get that? Now we distribute it to the next thing. What's 5 times 3? Still positive 15. Now, I have A's and B's, so I'm just going to write them like they are. I have an A squared times a B. An alphabetical order, right? A, B, C. So, is this making sense? Yeah? Are y'all bored? Am I? No? Yeah, some of you. That's fine. Better to be bored than to not have a clue what's going on. Okay, what's 5 times 2? 10. And then don't forget we also have our A squared. And that's the answer to that one. Okay? So number 7 is C. Yeah. Number 8. For number 8, we have 26x squared plus 34x to the 4th. And make sure you read your directions. It says, what is the greatest common factor? You're looking at the numbers and the variables, the coefficients and the variables. What number goes into both 26 and 34? It's 2. That's the greatest number, the biggest number that you could factor out is just a 2. What else do we have to look at? The variables. How many variables can you factor out? How many do they both have?
2.
They both have 2. That's why it's going to be x squared. Does everybody understand that part?
If I put the wrong letter, does it get it wrong?
What do you mean, like if you put 2y squared? That would be fine.
If I put 2a squared.
2a, that I would totally understand that. What I care about is that variable is squared. Okay? Does everybody understand that? You can only pull out the smallest amount because you're looking to see what do they both have. Well, that one has how many x's? 2, and that one has 4. So they both have 2. That's the greatest amount that I could pull out. All right, let's keep going. Number 9 is the same way, I think, kind of. It starts off the same way. 25w to the 6th plus 35w to the 3rd. They want us to factor it completely. That means, what is your greatest common factor? Pull it out, and then write what's left over. So what number goes into 25 and 35? 5. And how many w's can I factor out? They both have at least 3, so I can do that. So that is what I'm going to factor out. Now we have to write what's left over. Just divide it out. What's 25 divided by 5? And when you're dividing variables, you just subtract, right? What's 6 minus 3? This, that one's going to be 3. 5w to the 3rd. Okay?
I'm sorry.
Because when we distribute it back out, we would add exponents. All right? Because their exponents are different. What's 35 divided by 5? 7. And what's 3 minus 3?
0.
So I'm not going to write anything for that one. Okay? Does that kind of make sense? Yes? So what's your answer choice on number 9? Should be B.
Wait, can you know?
Huh?
She doesn't understand.
Yeah, another one. You want me to just make up one? Okay. Let me think of one. I'll do 28a to the third plus 49a squared. Okay, so what number goes into 28 and 49? 7. And how many a's do they both have? Well, one has 3, but one only has 2. So I can only factor out 2 of them. I mean, I can't take away something that you don't have enough of, is what I'm saying. So then we'll see what's left. And you're just dividing. What's 28 divided by 7? 4. And when dividing, what do you do with exponents? Subtract them. Okay? What's 3 minus 2? So I have 1a left over. Another way to think of that is just go backwards. 7 times what is 28? And you would think, oh, 7 times 4. A squared times how many more do I need to give me 3 of them? 1. That's another way to think of it, okay? Several different ways. All right, doing the division way, what's 49 divided by 7? 7. And look, I've already brought all my a squareds out. Or another way to think of it is, what's 2 minus 2? 0. I'm not going to write any a's on that one. Okay, does that kind of make sense? A little bit better? Okay. All right, number 10. Y'all, if I need to stop or go over something else, y'all just stop me. Number 10, 3x plus 4 times 2x minus 6. And it says to FOIL this, first, outer, inner, last. That just means multiply the first two things. What's 3x times 2x? 6x squared. Okay. What's 3x times negative 6? Negative 18x. What's 4 times 2x? 8x. So I did the first terms, the outside terms, now my inside terms, and now the 2 last terms. What's 4 times negative 6? Negative 24. And usually you can add the 2 middle items. Y'all don't get it?
Oh, we do get it. We're just talking about something.
Oh, okay. Okay. So 6x squared. What's negative 18 plus 8? Negative 10x. And then bring down your negative 24. Okay? We're good with that? Yes. Keep going.
I'm good.
Number 11. 4k plus 5 times 3k squared minus 4k minus 4. Okay, there was one like this on your project, speaking of which must be turned in today, correct? It is due today, your farm project. Several of y'all kept getting confused on this one. You have to distribute this number to everything, distribute this number to everything, and combine like terms. Okay, so there will most likely be one of these on your final. So it's, and y'all, I think there's 30 questions on here. There's not going to be quite 30 questions on your final. I might do like 25, 20 to 20, 20 to 25.
Listen, I've got a few highlighted that you can take off the list.
Well, it's probably the ones that are repeat. Like if there's several.
Granny glasses.
Oh, very
I hate granny
It's the granny.
There's going to be a granny glasses. Okay, let's keep going because, yeah, we haven't even gotten to the hard stuff. Okay. What is 4k times 3k squared? First, look at your numbers. What's 4 times 3?
12.
12. And how many k's is that? 1, 2, 3.
12,000.
So k to the third. Are we good with that?
Yeah.
Then let's 4k times negative 4k. Well, negative 16. And how many k's is that?
2.
2 of them. So negative 16k squared. And then 4k times negative 4, negative 16, and just the 1k. All right, then what's next?
You have to do that.
5 times 3k squared is 15k squared. 5 times negative 4k minus 20k. And then 5 times negative 4 minus 20. And then we just combine like terms. Okay? So I would start with my k to the third. Are there any others? No. So I'll just bring it down.
That's too much.
Now it's not. You're just combining like terms. Look at your k squareds. Negative 16 plus 15. How many are there? Negative 1 k squared. You can write the 1 if you want to. Okay? I usually don't, and I'm going to mark those off. Now our k's, negative 16 minus 20 is what? Negative 36. I wrote it backwards. Hold on. That's supposed to say minus 36k. I wrote minus 3k6. Okay. And then minus 20. And do we see that answer choice? It should be A. Okay, everybody good with that? Look, let me pause this for a second. Number 12. It says square 2x minus 6. A lot of y'all thought, oh, let me square this and let me square this. No, it wants you to multiply this times itself, the whole thing. Like think of 3 squared. I'm multiplying 3 times itself, which is 9. Okay? But I have to multiply this times itself. So I suggest you rewrite that. How do you multiply this? You FOIL it. Okay, some of y'all were just trying to just square this, and that is not right. You have to use the FOIL method. So what's 2x times 2x?
4x squared.
4x squared. And then 2x times negative 6, negative 12x. And then again, negative 6 times 2x is negative 12x. And then negative 6 times negative 6 is a positive 36. Okay? And then, let's see, I would write 4x squared minus 24x plus 36. Some of you could have shortcut that. Y'all probably don't remember it. You do square this whole thing. You do square that. And then it's this times 2. Like you double that. But a lot of y'all probably don't remember the shortcut. But there was a shortcut. You want another one of those. Just like that.
You need to do the next one. We'll probably still need
And then I'll go, if you need me to do another one, then I'll go back. So number 13 is the same thing. It just doesn't have a minus sign. What does it have? A plus sign. So it's 7m plus 5 squared. What that means is I multiply that whole thing times itself. Again, I suggest rewriting it. 7m plus 5 times itself. And when you do that, that's FOIL method, correct? 7m times 7m. What is that? 49m squared. And then I would have known it's going to be 70m in the middle because I just multiplied this and then double it. But 7m times 5 is what? 35m. And again, what's 5 times 7m? 35m. And then what's 5 times 5? 25. And you can combine your middle terms. So I get 70m in the middle. Does that make sense? Is that better on those? Some of y'all did not do that because I had several of y'all ask me questions.
Can we do one of those writing classes?
We're just going in order. Do we need another one of those? I can make one up. You said hold on.
Yeah, I was figuring out.
You want another one of those? Yes. I have somebody that wants. What'd you say?
Can you let me write this down?
Yes. I will pause this and then we'll do one more. I'll make one up. So this is not on your study guide. It's just an extra example. If I have, I was about to do one we already did. Do you want a minus sign or a plus sign? Minus sign. Okay, let's go with 4a minus 1 squared. Sorry. That means I multiply that entire thing times itself. 4a minus 1 times 4a minus 1. And then we FOIL it out. Okay? So what's 4a times 4a? 16a squared. 4a times negative 1. Negative 4a. I'm going to have another one of those. Only because it's the same thing, right? Times itself. What's negative 1 times 4a? Negative 4a. And then what's negative 1 times negative 1? Positive 1.
Three-parted person.
Positive 1. And then we combine like terms. So that would be a negative 8a there in the middle. Okay, are we better with those? Yes, no, we're good. Okay, let's keep going. Number 14, I call that a conjugate. What in the world is a conjugate?
I don't know.
I don't know.
You will hear that word a lot in Algebra 2. That'll be a while. Conjugate, I think. Let me make sure it's one. Yeah. So it's when you have the same numbers, but one is a plus sign and one is a minus sign. A conjugate means all your middle terms are going to cancel out. I know that because see how these are the same numbers, but one's a plus sign and one's a minus sign. Watch what happens. What's 2n times 2n? 4n squared. 2n times negative 2? Negative 4n. 2 times 2n? Positive 4n, yep. And 2 times negative 2, negative 4. What happens to your middle two terms? Didn't I say that that's what's going to happen? So, negative 4 and a positive 4, when they're added together, go to 0. So I just get 4n squared minus 4. They actually cancel out on that one.
I don't even know how I got that.
Do I need to do another one of those?
Yeah.
Okay. Another one of those. If I have 3x plus 4 and 3x minus 4. I know I can tell you right now that since these are conjugates, it's going to be 9x squared minus 16. Because I just square this and square this. Only because they're conjugates. Say you don't remember that, what are you going to do? You're just going to FOIL it out. So, what's 3x times 3x? 9x squared. What's 3x times negative 4? Negative 12x. What's 4 times 3x? Positive 12x. That's going to cancel. And what's 4 times negative 4? Negative 16. So what's my final answer? 9x squared minus 16. That's a difference of squares. We'll factor it later and get that answer. Yeah.
So technically, all you have to do is do 3 times 3 and then 4 times negative 4.
If it's a conjugate, you can use that shortcut. You just have to recognize that they're conjugates.
How do you know it's conjugate?
Same numbers. One's a plus and one's a minus. See, is this a conjugate right here? No. Same numbers, but they're both plus signs. Is this a conjugate right here? No. Same numbers, but they're both minus signs. That means the middle terms don't go away. This is they're conjugates, so I knew all my middle terms would cancel out. And y'all, when y'all do Algebra 2, that's when we'll really do that. If I were you, I would just use FOIL method for now. But when you get to Algebra 2, we will deal with that big time, okay? Let's move on to number 15. It is w squared plus 18w plus 77. This one says to factor. When there's no number out front, I just go ahead and write the 2 parentheses. Do y'all remember that? See, y'all are going to have to actually study this tonight or Monday night, depending on when your final is. You are going to have to actually study because you're not going to come up to me and say, what do I do on this one? I'm going to say, what do you do on this one? Like, that's what I'm asking you on the test, okay? You have to remember, how do you factor this? You put your 2 parentheses. What goes at the front of them? W and W, okay? I'm going to find factors of 77. What are they? 11 and 7. Does that add to 18?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a positive 11 and a positive 7. Y'all, it could be switched. How is their answer written? What answer is it? C? Yeah, see, C is the same thing as mine, right? They just have it written, their W plus 7 and then W plus 11. It's the same thing. Does everybody see that? Okay. 16, we're going to do the same method. X squared minus, that's 1x, in case you forget how many x's that is. That's an understood 1. There's no number out front, so I can just do my 2 parentheses. So what goes at the front of that? X and X. I'm going to find factors of negative 42. What times what is negative 42?
Negative 6 and negative 7.
Well, negative 6 and a positive 7. Does that add to negative 1?
No.
But does a negative 7 and a positive 6? Yes. So I'm going to write those. A negative 7 and a positive 6. And that answer choice is A.
Does it matter which order you put them in?
No. You just have to know, like, your answer choices that match. Well, that one does match A. But say you had done this. You would just have to know that that's the same thing as answer choice A. Okay? Because you're looking, which one has a positive 6 and a negative 7? No matter the order, that's what you're looking for. 17D squared plus 2D minus 48. So, two parentheses, there's no number out front. What goes in the front of those? D and D. And I'm going to find what times what is a negative 48? Negative 12 and 4. Or do it that way, but that's not going to add to 2. What else? How about negative 8 and 6? But that adds to negative 2, so I need to switch it, right? A positive 8 and a negative 6. Does that add to 2? Yes. So I'm going to put a positive 8 and a negative 6. Again, whatever order you do is fine. All right, number 18. 18 says the area of a painting is given by this: x squared plus 4x minus 60. What are the dimensions of the painting? Factor it. Okay, so let's just factor it and see. At the beginning goes x, and what are factors of negative 60? 5 and 12.
6 and 10.
6 and 10. I'm making one of them negative though. Okay, so does any of that add up to 4?
Yes.
Which one?
I know, honestly. Negative 6.
Negative 6 and the positive 10. So minus 6 and plus 10. So which one's your answer? Is it A? Yep, it's A. All right, we're done with 18. Another page done. How are we feeling about this so far?
I feel
I
horrible.
feel like I'm gonna fail.
Which one's granny?
Really?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need extras on.
I'm not going to put just a ton of these on there. Like for granny glasses, I'll probably just put 1 or 2, and that's it. Okay? I'm not going to put 4 of them. I put 4 of them on here so you would have practice.
Where is granny?
Well, I
Number-
failed the practice.
Okay, we're getting to it now. 6x squared plus 5x plus 1. I cannot use 2 parentheses method because why?
There's a number.
There's a number. So I can't split that up evenly. Okay? Some of you could try trial and error. I will tell you, if it's like 20 or 22, the best way is to FOIL those out and like go backwards. Work from your answer choices. If it's multiple choice, you can do that. Look at your answer choices and FOIL them and see which one gives it to you. Okay? Anyway, you don't have to do that. Number 19, what?
Are they gonna be multiple choice?
Maybe one of them out of the 2. So, let me teach it. 6x squared times 1. Since there was a number out front, I have to draw the little glasses, right? I'm multiplying this times this. What's 6x squared times 1? It's 6x squared. What times what is 6x squared?
3.
Yeah, 3 and 2. 3x and 2x. Do those add up to 5x?
Yes.
Yes, they do. So I am replacing that. Everything else I'm writing down the same. 6x squared, a 3x, a 2x, and a 1. Do y'all see how the only thing I changed was the 5x? And I wrote something that was equal to it. Yes, no, we get this? Okay.
Yeah.
You have to remember these steps. Then you group, which is what you do on number 30. I'll do number 30 in just a little bit. Okay? You're grouping these 2 together, and you're grouping these 2 together. What can I factor out of this? Y'all make sure you're paying attention. What goes into both of these things? A 3. Don't forget to look at your variable. What else? An x. Don't they both have an x? You're just taking out what you can, Aston. So, what is 6 divided by 3? 6 divided by 3 is 2. I took out 1x, so I have 1 left over. Do y'all remember doing this a little bit ago?
No.
No? Are we confused on these?
Yeah.
Yes.
On just what do you factor out?
The whole thing.
So, I know granny glasses is difficult, but you have to know it. Like, I can't skip over it just because it's hard. Now,
Yes, you can.
what do you have? You can't do algebra 2 without this. What do you have that goes into 6 and 3? What number goes into 6 and 3? 3. How many variables do they have? That one has 2, and that one has 1. So you can only pull out one of them. Like, if you only had $5, could I take 10 away from you? No,
Yes.
it doesn't make sense, right? That's the same thing here. You can't factor out more than what it has, okay? So I factor out a 3x. Does it sound like I'm yelling at you?
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay,
Very loud.
so 6 divided by 3 was 2. And remember, for exponents asked and we subtract them, 2 minus 1 is the 1x. Let's do the same thing. What's 3 divided by 3? 1.
What number are we on?
19 still. And I already factored out the x. Or think of it this way. X minus x means I would write 0 of them. Do the same thing over here. You have to factor out something. What's in common between a 2x and a 1? Just a 1. Only 1 goes into those. So I'm going to factor out the 1. What's left over? What's 2x divided by 1? What's 1 divided by 1? Do you see that your parentheses are the same? Yes. So that's one of my answers. And what's my other one?
3x plus 1.
There you go. That's how you do granny glasses. Every time it's the same method. Okay.
3x on the outside and 1.
Yeah, what you're distributing is one of your answers.
Which one of the parentheses do you do?
Both, they're the same. So they have to be the same. They have to match. And so you just write it down. Whatever was in your parentheses, you write it down. They have to match. So you can just write it down the one time. Number 20. 8x squared plus 18x plus 9. So granny glasses again because there's a number out front. So what's 8x squared times 9? 72x squared. And what times what is 72?
8 and 7.
Well, yeah, so there's 8 and 7, but do those add up to 18? Close, but not quite.
8 and 7.
I meant 8 and 9. Sorry, 8 and 9. But do those add up to 18? No.
6 and 12.
6 and 12. Do those add up to 18? Yes. Okay, so it doesn't matter which one you write where. You have your 8x squared, you bring it down, and then I'm just going to write them in that plus 6x plus 12x plus 9. Does everybody see that? I just replaced my middle term with those two. Because 6 plus 12 is 18. That's the reason I can replace it. Then what do we do? What do we do when there's 4 terms like that? We group them. We group them. What can I factor out? What number goes into 8 and 6? 2. And how many x's can I factor out? Just the 1. What's left? What's 8 divided by 2? 4. And how many x's am I going to write in here? 1. Because x times x is x squared. Or 2 minus the 1 is left with 1. Bring down my plus sign. What's 6 divided by 2? 3. And I already factored out that x. That's usually what happens. It usually looks like something times x plus a number. All right, over here, what can I factor out of 12x and 9?
3.
A 3. So what's left over? What's 12 divided by 3?
4.
And don't forget our x. And what's 9 divided by 3?
3.
Do they match? They have to, okay? If they don't, you did something wrong. Start over. So we get 4x plus 3. And what's the other parentheses? 2x plus 3. Do you have a question? So, oh, sorry, number 20 is A. Yes. Let's go to 21. Number, yeah, 20, 21, 22, 23. Huh? Nope, I just did 20. 12d squared plus 4d minus 1. Do I have a number out front? Yes. So I have to multiply this times this. And what is that going to be?
No idea.
Negative 12d squared. What times what?
Wait, can I write this down?
Yep. Okay, I'll wait a second. Let me let y'all write that down.
2 and 6.
I'm not ready. It's hard. Okay, I'm ready.
Shirley, you got
We
a
ready?
problem.
Okay. Shh. What times what is 12? Somebody said 4 and 3, but remember, oops, it's not x. Negative 4 and a positive 3. Or negative 3 and a positive 4. Then somebody said 2 and 6, but they have to be negative. So a negative 2 and a positive 6, or a negative 6 and a positive 2.
It's negative 2 and positive 6.
Yeah, it has to add up to a positive 4, right? Yes. So it's negative 2 and a positive 6. Let me see how I want to do this. Yeah. So I always like to put my negative first. It makes it a little bit easier. Plus 60 minus 1. Any questions on how I wrote that part?
No.
I bring down the first thing, I bring down the last thing, and I'm just replacing this with the two numbers that I picked. We're good. Okay. Then what do we do when there's 4 terms? Group it. Oops, that's a plus sign. Okay, what can I factor out of 12 and 2?
2.
A 2. And can I factor out a variable?
Yes.
A d. Just one d. What's 12 divided by 2? 6. And then d squared minus that one, right? Because we're dividing it out. What's 2 minus 1? 1d. Okay? Minus sign. What's 2 divided by 2? 1. And I already factored the d out. Do we understand that part? No? Who said no?
Over there.
What do you understand how we get the 2d?
I get that.
Okay, you don't get how we're getting the numbers left over.
I don't know what I'm saying.
So think of it this way. 2 times what number is 12? 2 times 6. Now look at variables. I have 1d. How many more do I need to get 2?
Okay.
1. Okay? Then I bring down my minus sign. 2 times what number is 2? 2 times 1. So I put a 1. Do I need to put a d? No, because d is already there.
Okay.
That might be a better way. There's like 3 different ways you could think of this. I'll do that one this time. Now, can I factor anything out of 6d and 1? Just 1. I have to write something. So I'm just going to write 1. So 1 times what is 6d?
6.
Yeah, 1 times, and then don't forget our d. And 1 times what is 1? Well, it's just 1. Are your parentheses the same? Yes. So I'm going to write what's in parentheses. Oops. And then I'm going to write what's not in parentheses. And remember, they're multiplied together. If they're factors, if you're finding factors, that's 2 things that are multiplied together. What are factors of 12? 3 times 4. 6 times 2. Don't you dare put a plus sign between these. Factors are multiplied together. Next up, we have 22. We're getting through this, y'all.
Yes, Amanda, what's it like being an absolute goat? What's it like being a goat?
A goat? Oh, I thought you said, what's it like being ghetto?
No,
And I was like, really? Really?
What's it like?
Being a goat?
Is it amazing?
I have no idea. I don't know what that's like.
I guess it is the greatest of all time.
I know what that means. I don't.
I mean, forever to go.
Who's the greatest of all time?
I don't know. Who do you think it is? Do you think it's me? Yeah. Oh! You don't think it's me?
Obviously.
It's Jesus. Okay, now we're going to multiply, since there's a number out front, 3x squared times negative 16. What's 3 times negative 16?
28.
Negative
How do you
48. Negative 48.
Idiots.
Bryson. Be nice. Okay, let's just get through this, y'all. Only a few left. Let's try to be done by like 9:05. Okay, what times what is negative 48x squared?
7.
Sorry, I dropped my eraser.
Huh?
8 times 6.
Yeah.
Okay, so negative 8 and a positive 6, an 8 and a negative 6. What about 12 and what? 4? 12 and 4. 12 and negative 4. Okay, and it has to add up to a positive 8, so it's this one. So again, I write down my 3x squared. I think I can do I like to do my minus signs first. What are you doing? Okay. I have 4 terms, so what do I do? Are you okay?
No, I'm not.
Okay. We group.
Miss Man, I think he's got Tourette's.
I'm very concerned.
I just lost.
It's almost like you got ants in your pants or something. Okay. Now, we factor out what's in both of these. Is there a number I can factor out of 3 and 4?
Wait, okay.
What is going on?
I'm sorry. I'm actually done.
Yeah, you are done. Yes, please. Okay, I can't even concentrate. I know they can't. All right, so I write x, and what's left over? Because I can factor out just an x. Caden, you're getting him in trouble. Don't you throw that back to him. Okay. So, I factor out an x, and what's left over?
Oh my god.
Okay, I have lost y'all because
I'm
Because-
sorry.
of some boys.
I hit
Y'all
the
are gonna go
greatest
back
split of
and
all time.
watch this video
Oh,
and
man, I hit the greatest
Okay.
split of all time.
I can't factor out a number out of 3 and 4.
Wait.
But then we have to look at variables. So it would just be a 1. If you want to, put a 1. Okay? I'll put a 1. I normally don't. But then, can we factor out an x, Aston?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
How many of them, Aston?
Oh, hold it. Don't move. 12.
I already put the answer. I've already said this. Okay,
One.
1x. This one has 2.
I was testing you.
This one has 1. How many can you factor out? Remember when I was yelling at y'all earlier? If you have $5, can I take 10?
Yes.
No.
It said
You
41
can't
X's right
take-
there, and I saw 12 circles.
You can't take more than it has. You can't do that.
I'm gonna be watching this
Somebody
later.
like hacks into your bank account.
Okay, that's different. This is just being, let's just,
Have it in
no.
there.
Okay, we got it.
Okay, so what's left over? X times what is 3x squared?
3 days.
First of all, I need a 3, and then I need one more x. Bring down my minus sign. X times what is 4x? 4. Okay, let's see what I can factor out over here. What goes into 12x and 16? A 4. What's 4 times what is 12x? 3x. Aston, you are literally like right in front of me. I can see you turned around. Okay, quit. What is 16 divided by, or 4 times what is 16?
-4.
Yes. So what's in parentheses? Did I make you cry?
Yeah.
What's in parentheses is the same. So we write that, 3x minus 4, and what's left over?
X plus 4.
1x plus 4. You could write the 1, but they're not going to in the answer. Okay.
Miss Amanda.
Yes. Oh my gosh. What?
I don't understand it.
Oh,
I'm almost done with these.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Miss Man, if I fail this test, will this
Yeah,
like hold me back?
I don't know at this point.
You know my grades is-
Let me do 23. 23 is also granny glasses.
22. 3x minus D.
I was gonna say.
23. I didn't record my rant. Okay.
That's good.
Yeah, I just didn't want that. Okay, 23. 20x squared. This one's a little different. But it's another granny glasses for another review.
Thank you.
Plus 22x minus 12. Chloe?
Do you have those little extra the other stuff? study guide with the answers on that?
Like, y'all need an extra study guide?
I do.
I can make one. Okay, I can make one if we get this done early enough. All right, on this one, there's a number out front, but so I'm going to have to use granny glasses. Does everybody see that? Yes, but it's big numbers, right? Is there anything that I could factor out to make all those smaller? Like, is there a number that goes into all those? 2. And that's 4 almost, but it doesn't go into what? The 22. So watch, if I factor out this 2, that means let's divide everything by 2. It's going to make everything smaller. We did some of these. What's 20 divided by 2? 10. What's 22 divided by 2? 11. And what's the 12 divided by 2? 6. Now, y'all, when I have my final answer, what is out here?
2.
A 2. You're not getting up. So I know my final answer is going to have a 2. Okay? Now I'm going to use granny glasses. What is 10x squared times negative 6? Negative 60x squared. So what times what?
Gives you
5 and 12.
Okay, so negative 12 and 5. 12 and negative 5. What was another one?
10 and 6.
Okay, negative 6 and 10. Negative 10 and 6. Do any of those add up to 11?
Wait.
Second to last one, right? The last
What are we
one.
trying to add it up to?
11.
Miss Amanda.
What?
With 30 times 2. Or no?
Yeah, but are those going to add up to 11? Like the 20 and the 3? Y'all listen, they're so far apart. 30 and 2, so far apart. Let's think of some other numbers. 5? Did I already do, I already did that one. 5 and 12.
What is 60 divided? That's 30. Just kidding.
What's 60 divided by 4? Does that work?
Number.
It's 20. No,
It's 15.
That's it. Okay, so negative 4 and 15 and a positive 4 and a negative 15. What's it going to be? What's going to add up to a positive 11? The positive 15. So again, I like to put the negative first. Negative 4x plus 15. Then what do we do with our 4 terms? Shh, y'all pay attention. You group. Shh.
Oh, you do 5 and
Well-
10. I don't know.
What can I divide out of 4 and 10?
No, you already did.
A 2.
6.
And what else? An x. Y'all, do y'all not see it's the same thing over and over again? It's always like a small number and a variable. What's 10 divided by 2?
5.
I'm confusing you?
No, you're just going like that.
Oh, I'll stop.
You're confusing me.
No.
How did you?
How did I what?
Where did 2x come from right there?
Okay, let's just start right here. Does everybody understand that part when I grouped? Now,
Because you had your 2 and now it's gone.
okay, because I'm going back to this step, so I can do one step at a time, boys. Okay. What goes into 10 and 4?
2.
23.
2. Does everybody understand?
And
2 times 5 is 10, and 2 times 2 is 4. That's where the 2 is going to come from. Now, there also is an x in both of those terms, right? There's 2 x's, there's an x. So I'm going to write down an x. Then I'm saying 2 times what number is 10? 2 times 5. X, and I need one more, right? To give me x squared. Bring down my minus sign. 2 times what number is 4? 2. And I already have my x. Now what over here? What number goes into 15 and 6? 3. One does, but
You can't do an x.
Are you recording this?
yes. It'll be a very interesting recording. 3 times what is 15x? 5. I'll be sure and tell your parents to listen. 3 times what is 6? 3 times 2. Okay, do they match? Yes, they do. So it's the 5x minus 2, and then what's on the outside? 2x plus 3. That's your final answer.
That makes sense.
Can we go to the next one?
Okay, now I'm lost.
All right, now I get it.
Where does?
Let me let y'all write this down. Hold on, one question at a time. Okay, number 24. Back to easier ones. Yes.
Thank you, Jesus.
24. It's got d squared plus 18d plus 81. This one you'll notice is a perfect square trinomial. Or maybe you won't notice. I would.
It's not 81.
But let's just work it out like we're used to. What goes at the front of these?
D.
D and D. What times what is 81?
9.
And does that add to 18?
Yes.
Yes. So some of you could shortcut this. If you'll notice, that's not an answer on there, right? Well, it is, but it's not written like I have it. Because it's a perfect square trinomial, the way that they want you to write this is like
It's not
this.
squared.
Okay? So, and it's because it's a perfect square. 25 is the same thing, except it's going to have a minus sign. Can y'all tell that by looking at it? It has a minus sign. So this one is. All right, so let's look at 25. 25, let me write it out. D squared minus 20d plus 100. And I put D and D. And what times what's 100? 10 and 10. But does that add up to a negative 20? So they're both going to be what? Negative. But I told you they were going to be minus signs because that was. So there's two of them. So it's D minus 10 squared. The reason it's going to work like that is because it's a perfect square trinomial. Like the ones at the beginning, they didn't work that way. All right? 26. This, does anybody remember what it's called?
Nope. Wait.
Somebody say it.
Expression.
Wait.
Yeah, it is an
Imaginary
expression.
numbers. I don't know.
We're not doing
A
27.
math problem.
A difference of squares, perfect squares. Yeah, difference of perfect squares. Yeah, y'all are not doing 27. Now, what are the two things that I'm squaring on this one? S and what else? 9. Now, I have to figure out what kind of signs go in between those.
Minus and plus.
Both. Very good. A minus and a plus.
What just happened?
And the reason is they're conjugates. The middle term goes away. You have to remember this on your own. When you see this to go to factor it, you have to remember, oh, one's going to be a plus sign, one's going to be a minus sign. 28 is the same thing.
How do we know that?
It's a difference of squares.
Because there's
You just,
no-
there's no middle term.
So you know it has to be a plus
So
and
you
a
know it
minus.
has to be a plus and a minus. The middle term went away. 28's the same thing. 4x squared minus 81y squared. That is a difference of perfect squares. So, what's the first thing I'm squaring?
I didn't even get that right.
It's to get 4x squared, so it's 2x and 2x, right? 2x times 2x. Now, what times what is 81y squared? 9y and 9y. And what kind of signs do I use?
Plus and minus.
A plus and a minus because the middle terms went away. Huh?
How do you know you're going to use that?
Of what? Okay, I really want y'all to go back and watch this video. It's going to be, y'all are going to hear how many times I say stuff. Okay, anyway, it's a plus. It's fine. I'll say it again. It's a plus and a minus sign because the middle terms go away. When it's a conjugate, everything's the same. One's a plus and one's a minus. All your middle terms cancel out. Does this have a middle term? Is this a trinomial?
No.
No. Look at all these other problems. That has a middle term. They didn't cancel out. That has a middle term. They didn't cancel out. Does this have a middle term? No. Because one was a plus sign and one was a minus sign. Now, 29. I told y'all would have to, 29 and 30 are kind of new, but kind of not.
Thank God.
29, 50x squared minus 8. Are those perfect squares? Is that a difference of perfect squares?
No.
No. But is there a number that goes into 50 and 8?
Sure.
2. All right, let's try that. Let's factor out this 2.
4.
25x squared minus 4. What do we notice about that? It is a
Perfect square.
difference of squares. Do we see that?
Yes.
Okay. Look for a second. See if you understand that I just divided everything by 2.
Okay, I get that you divided everything by 2, but why?
Change to the block.
Because you had to, it tells you have to factor. So I have to, it's not a trinomial, so I'm not going to do granny glasses,
Yay.
So let me see if I can divide a number out. I can. Now when I'm looking at it, you have to see, is it a difference of squares? Yes, it is. So I still have my 2 out here, because look at your answer choices. Do they have a 2 out there? Yes, they do. They should.
But that's not answer choice.
I know. We have to factor it. It's a difference of squares. How do you factor a difference of squares?
That.
Like this. So what goes at the front? What times what? Yeah. 5x and 5x. And what goes at the end?
2.
And what kind of signs go between them? A plus and a minus. So your answer for 29 is B, I think.
Yes.
Okay, 30. Number 30. Last one.
Yay. It's 9 o'clock.
3x to the third plus 3x squared plus x plus 1. I hoped I would be done by 9:05. We're just going to be a couple minutes late. All right. What do I say you do when there's 4 terms? When we do granny glasses and we get to 4 terms, what do? We group. So we're going to group our first 2 and group that one. What can I factor out of this?
X.
A 3. And how many x's? 2. Very good. Does everybody see why you can factor out 2? You can pull 2 x's out because they both have at least 2. What's left over? 3 times what is 3?
1x.
A 1. I'll just put it. X squared times what is x to the third? Another x. Okay. 3 times what is 3? 1. And I already have my x squared. So I have x plus 1. Does everybody understand that?
Yeah.
On this one, I have to factor out something. What would I factor out? A 1. And what's left over? 1x plus 1. Aren't these the same thing? I have 1x plus 1. So I'm going to write that. 1x plus 1. And what's my other thing I'm going to write?
3x squared plus 1.
And we're done.
Yay!
We're done for the year. Except for you have to take your final and all, but I'm done for the year with this teaching. Hold on.